So today we're going to be talking about Josh, the axe murderer, who has been murdering children for over 30 years, and some of you may know of him as the Bearded Butcher. Oh, no, wait, sorry, this is Dr. Josh Axe. Okay, sorry, I had him confused with someone else. Now, you may have noticed that this guy has doctor before his name, so why wouldn't I have called this the worst of the healthcare industry? Well, it turns out this guy isn't an actual medical doctor, but rather a chiropractor. It's as if he's assuming an alternate identity to deceive people, sort of like a real-life serial killer. Deceit is just one of the tools of the trade. And since diet is literally a life-or-death situation, with nutrition being the most important factor for the prevention of chronic disease, not a real medical doctor, Josh Axe may be even worse than an actual serial killer, as heart disease kills over 600,000 people per year in America, whereas homicides are only around 16,000 per year. Well, there's some perspective for you. Can you really say I'm that bad? Now, I might be ragging on him pretty hard for not being an actual medical doctor, but to be fair, as I proved in a previous video, actual medical doctors don't really know shit about nutrition.
Let me tell you, bacon and eggs for breakfast is okay because you get protein in it that's going to fill you up throughout the day. So the Lean Belly prescription, this is about incorporating good fats, lean proteins.
Yeah, but this is not a good
carbs.
fat, dude, right? Bacon is not a good fat.
Well, but see, this is where people need to realize that.
So whenever I research these people, regardless of their job or title, I give them a fair, honest chance. And honestly, my first impressions of not Dr. Josh Axe were pretty good.
In this video, I'm going to settle the debate of vegan versus paleo. All right, so let's first talk about the paleo diet. With paleo is that you're consuming a lot of wild-caught meats that are high in omega-3 fat. Fruits, you're getting some vegetables. For that reason, the paleo diet can be great. The con with the paleo diet, people that follow the paleo diet tend to consume probably a little bit too much meat, in my opinion, as well as some toxic animal substances. And then let's talk about the vegan diet. Huge benefits, more enzymes, more vitamins, more minerals in your diet. So beneficial for improving energy levels, alkalizing your body, reversing certain types of disease and certain types of cancer.
Now, hearing that actually surprised the shit out of me because somebody sent me that video and told me I should do a worst of the fitness industry video on him, and I thought that guy was pretty alright. But as I kept watching,
the issue is doing a vegan diet long term, but if you stay on that the majority of your life, you cannot get vitamin B12, and then it's very difficult to get the proper amount of amino acids and zinc and certain other nutrients, even like vitamin D in your diet.
I guess not Dr. Josh Axe never learned that vegans get the same amount of protein as meat eaters without supplementation. Zinc is found in sufficient quantities in many plant foods like beans, grains, nuts, and seeds, and our own skin produces vitamin D when in contact with sunlight. No need to eat animals, not Dr. Axe. Just get some sunshine. And eat some beans. And as for B12, it's not actually synthesized by animal tissue, it's produced by bacteria, and it can be found in things like well water and soil, so why is not Dr. Josh Axe so against a vegan diet when all of those vitamins and minerals he just mentioned are very easily gotten through diet, aside from B12, which can very cheaply and easily be supplemented?
These supplements can help support you in giving your body the nutrients it needs to perform at your best. And my favorite is doing a grass-fed whey or a grass-fed milk protein. This is what we have in the draxe.com online store, but this healing protein, but doing a good quality protein powder is essential. And so
because it's more profitable to sell protein supplements to meat eaters than it is to sell B12 to vegans. So he just criticized vegan diets for not being able to get enough protein without supplementation, but he sells protein supplements to meat eaters. If there's one thing I hate more than nosy neighbors, it's hypocrites. You know what's also funny? Vegan bodybuilder and powerlifter Avi Liani has been vegan for over 30 years and doesn't take any protein supplements, only eats whole plant foods, and I'd say he's just a bit bigger than not Dr. Josh Axe. You know what? Even I'm a little bigger than Josh Axe. Maybe if he keeps taking more of that protein supplement, one day he can be as big and strong as a vegan.
Did I mention that he's not an actual medical doctor?
And this is why people like Josh are so dangerous. He calls himself a doctor, and most people don't even think to look up his credentials, and at first glance his videos seem harmless enough, and he presents himself in a very professional manner, but it's almost as if he's luring in victims and putting on this act that gives people a false sense of security and trust.
Well, hello there, Billy.
Who are you? How do you know my name?
I'm Mr. Stevenson, from down the street. What are you doing out here, Billy?
Oh, I ran away from home. My mom was being a psychotic bitch and she took away all my action figures.
Well, that's not very nice. How would you like to come play with my action figures? I have a big collection down in my basement.
And as you watch more of Josh's videos, you start to see who he really is.
A complete fucking moron.
Organic natural eggs. Also, the yolk is full of healthy fat. And be 70, 80 still working out, be kind of like the next Jack Lane, you're going to eat a lot of eggs.
Oh, really? Eggs help us live long and egg yolks contain healthy fats? That's interesting because I know some actual medical doctors like William C. Roberts, editor-in-chief of the American College of Cardiology, who considers cholesterol the only risk factor for atherosclerosis. And, since meat, dairy, and eggs are high in saturated fat and cholesterol, maybe it's a good idea to avoid those foods since they raise cholesterol levels and alter our lipid metabolism, which causes heart disease. America's #1 killer.
Hey guys, I'm Dr. Axe, and today I'm going to be talking about why saturated fat is good for you. Things like coconut, butter, and grass-fed meats, they have good types of saturated fat. Resource is going to be from raw dairy, like raw butter, raw goat cheese, raw milk.
Really? Butter is healthy because butter actually raises our cholesterol levels and oxidized LDL levels, which promotes heart disease, and high-fat foods like butter cause inflammation, which damages our endothelial cells, literally paralyzing our arteries, and reduces oxygen uptake by our lungs. So, where the fuck did you get the idea that high-saturated fat foods like butter are healthy?
Now, the first question I ask people when they tell me saturated fat is bad is I said, well, who's smarter, you or God? And most people say, well, I think God is smarter than I am.
They don't teach you that in medical school.
Well, a lot of people don't realize that 40% of women's breast milk, of the fat found in women's breast milk, is made up of saturated fat. And we know that saturated fat is essential. It's an essential nutrient for young infants growing, and it's also an essential nutrient for us.
Suck tits, Josh Axe.
A lot of this guy's videos seem like they're pandering to his audience and playing off of fads, and hey, if you say butter and meat are healthy, you're going to get attention. And unsurprisingly, this guy's against grain consumption, and I guess he must have noticed that books like Wheat Belly are selling.
Here's the problem today. Most whole grains contain gluten. We're finding that probably 1 out of every 2 people, 50% of the US population, doesn't digest gluten well. It causes allergic reactions, can cause weight gain.
That's really interesting, not Dr. Josh Axe, because whole grain consumption is associated with lower BMI, and studies have shown that high-fiber bread diets actually promote weight loss, whereas, the meat that you kind of recommend eating is associated with an increased risk of weight gain and obesity.
Welcome to Not Dr. Josh Axe's Healthy Meals.
Start off with the hamburger meat, like frying it up like in the pan. Just kind of like eyeballing the milk and the butter.
I also don't understand why he's so concerned with gluten intolerances when lactose intolerance is the most prevalent food allergy in the entire world, yet he still recommends dairy products.
The issue today with regular bread is it contains phytic acid. Now, phytic acid is known as a mineral blocker or enzyme inhibitor. In fact, a study has proven that about 80% of the iron and magnesium you're getting or would have gotten in whole grains, you can't digest any of it.
Phytates also don't have any significant nutrient blocking effects in humans, and the consumption of high phytate foods like beans is associated with better bone health. And the funny thing is, the milk that you recommend consuming inhibits iron absorption. Dairy consumption is also associated with increased fracture and mortality risk, whereas the consumption of high phytate foods like beans reduces all-cause mortality risk, and phytates actually help to fight cancer.
Are you saying you want people to get cancer, Josh? Did you know that cancer is the second leading cause of death in America? You're practically a mass murderer.
And you know what? I've made that joke before about the leading causes of death and how that makes somebody a murderer, but Josh literally is an axe murderer since he thinks it's acceptable to murder animals just because of a few vitamins and minerals that he knows nothing about.
Why would you murder animals when people are the real monsters?
This guy is killing people and animals with his bad diet advice, so who the fuck taught him all of this shit?
Oh, look, he knows Dr. Oz.
If you just did 2 tablespoons of apple cider vinegar and water.
So, I like to you can put it in water, on the snack, in any form you wish. You want about 10 to 20 drops, so 10, 20.
Before your meal, it decreased your blood sugar levels by 6%. And this is because apple cider vinegar has been shown to balance those blood sugar levels.
Holistic doctors use this routinely because they know that it controls cravings, and it does that by adjusting your sugar levels. So you don't get the dip of the sugar that leads you to want to eat anything that's near you.
You taught your apprentice well.
So to everyone watching who may or may not be fans of Not Dr. Axe, always be skeptical about these so-called nutrition experts and supposed doctors. They might sound like they know what they're talking about, and they might seem professional, but when they start trying to sell you supplements and telling you good things about your bad diets and are going against the mainstream medical community, that's a sign you're being lured in and you should run away.
No, that's okay. I'm just gonna go home now.
Well, I guess I'll just have to see you later, Billy.
What a relief! When will this poisonous product cease? This is another public service announcement. You can believe it or you can doubt it. Let us begin now with the cow. The way it gets to your plate and how.